Hello, everyone. I am so excited for our weekly topics of getting you to that six figure role, six figure salary. If you are joining us live, please go ahead and announce yourself in the chat. Let me know where you're joining in from. And if you're watching the replay, please do the same thing, okay? I want to know where you guys are tuning in from. So, my name is Melissa Fleury. I am a career coach, a leadership coach, and I assist corporate professionals just like you reach that first six figure role. I am the founder of the Brand New Career, which is my coaching and consulting agency. And we basically help corporate professionals increase their salaries by getting into positions of leadership that have ownership and influence. And we also support corporations and employees in being able to train and retain their top talent. And so if you're looking at the title of today's talk, we're going to be talking about is making six figures possible? And I kind of want to let you know where this topic came in from. I see some people tuning in on the chat. I see Andreas from Memphis and someone else is from Georgia. Nice to meet you all. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat, or you can send me a DM personally. So a couple days ago, I got a message in my inbox, and the header said, "Hey, Melissa, I just honestly want to know, is making six figures even possible?" And there is a lot to unpack in that question. And I honestly don't think that that person has that same is the only person with that same question. I think many of us have been toying with the idea of we want to make more money, and then you look online, you're like, "Oh, making six figures seems cool. Like I think I can make six figures." But then we sometimes go through this back and forth of wondering, is it possible? Then is it possible for me? Will I be able to maintain it? And so I want to talk about that some more. And so I really believe that the question that she's asking is that is making six figures possible for her? So making it a personalized question, right? And maybe you need to ask that question, right? Is making six figures possible for me? And so I feel like there's a few things that we need to explore at the root of that belief. And if anything's resonating with you, definitely put in the chat me. Okay. Some of these things I'm probably going to say me because I've been through it. I think I constantly go through it, especially as you make more money. So one of the things that I realize that a lot of people ask themselves when it comes to making six figures is this belief of, am I even qualified to make six figures, right? And how do we break down qualifications? One of the things that I notice some of my clients say is that, oh, maybe when I get to 10 to 15 years of experience, I'll be able to qualify for that role. And to be honest, a lot of times it's not even rooted in the substance of their experience, right? Like having deep experience within those 10 to 15 years. But oftentimes you read a job description and then you're like, oh, if they're requiring 10 to 15 years of experience to make this amount of money, that must be the industry standard. And to be honest, it's not. That is just that one company's qualifications. So sometimes we pick up on what other people are requiring. It might be one, it might be two, 10, 15, right? But it doesn't justify it to be the baseline industry standard for it all. The second thing when it comes to am I qualified, and I see this a lot, is maybe I need to get additional degrees, right? And oftentimes we run to get our master's degree. So that might be the MBA, the MPA, the MPH, MHA, all the M's, right? All the masters. And then on top of that, we say, I need to get certification. So I need to get my PMP, I need to get my CFA, I need to get my CPA, and all of the certifications. And so oftentimes we say to ourselves that we need these certifications, not necessarily because they're qualifications, but more so we feel that we might be better qualified in the eyes of somebody else. Now, I've met a lot of people who have gotten MBAs, a lot of people who have gotten these advanced degrees, and they still don't know what they're doing. Okay. So I always encourage that if you are going to go the route of getting advanced degrees, make sure it's something that you need, and make sure that when you're investing this money that you get the full benefit out of a master's degree, because the last thing you want to do is spend six figures to get your master's and then you come out and you realize that you still can't even get a six-figure job. And there's a lot of people out on the market with six-figure student loan debt, realizing that their master's program pretty much is worthless in this job market. And so when you're trying to qualify yourself and asking yourself, you know what, am I qualified to make six figures? Explore maybe if you've been putting too much stock into getting an advanced degree. And I want to actually push this a little bit further, because sometimes it's not also getting an advanced degree. We put pressure on ourselves saying that I have to go to a specific school. And let me know in the chat, has that been you? You felt that if you got the label from going to an Ivy League institution, or going to a PWI, or maybe traveling abroad overseas, right? And doing many of those types of cultural programs would view you in a better light of other people, that now you would be deserving and qualified enough to make six figures. And so when you don't have those things, you now discount and discredit yourself, from putting yourself in a place where you can be earning more money and having more impact at work. Another belief that I see that a lot of people hold on to into whether or not they're qualified to make six figures is the company that they work for, right? And this has been me. I felt that I needed to work for certain institutions in order to make that coveted six-figure role, right? So for you, if you're in the tech industry, you're saying maybe I need to work for Facebook and Google and Apple and all of these things. If you're in real estate like me, you say I need to work for CBRE, I need to work for Newmark, or any other companies. Think of your industry, think of your title, and think of what's like the creme of the creme of those industries, and say to yourself, am I discrediting my value, right? And some people have even tied this, am I discrediting my worth, right, in the world, because I do not work for these companies? And because I do not work for these companies, or I have not had that experience, then I'm not even in a position to make six figures. Let me know if that's you in the chat. Something else that has come up is age. Some of us are saying, you know what, I'm not old enough to make six figures. And that kind of coincides with this whole thing of working a certain amount of time. So you might be saying to yourself, people that make six figures are typically 30-year-olds, which tends to be true, but people that make six figures are 30-year-olds, or people that make six figures are in their 40s and in their 50s, when they're absolutely established, right? And so you might be saying to yourself, I'm just gonna give myself more time, right? And that would be helpful if you're saying to yourself, I'm giving myself more time because I'm upping my skill set, I'm upping my experience, I'm getting well versed in what it is that I'm doing and becoming an expert. But many of us are giving ourselves more time, and when in actuality, we're just procrastinating on the goal. The last thing I want to touch on am I even qualified, right, to make six figures, is title. We feel that we have to have a specific title in order to make six figures. When actually what we need to do is determine what is the title to make six figures. So we say to ourselves, oh, I have to be a VP. A VP is the only way that I can make six figures. And you want to be very careful about the language that we use for ourselves, right? Using absolute language where there's no wiggle room. When in actuality, being a project manager might be the way to get you to six figures. Being an assistant VP might be the way to get you to six figures. Being a business analyst might be a way to get you to six figures. And the thing is, a lot of us are not well versed in our own goals. We don't know what truly qualifies to get us to the end result. So we got to do better research before we say something is possible, is not possible, we're qualified, we're not qualified, right? And this centers down to what we believe about ourselves. And so one thing that I also ask my clients is, do you believe that making six figures is bad? And you might be saying to me, hey, Mel, like, how could making more money be bad? Like, all of us need to make more money. Like, I got bills, I got things I need to do. but our actions kind of determine our beliefs about money. And so one of the things that constantly pops up is that I want to be good, but I don't need to be too good, right? Um, that was the way I like to say it. Because we might believe that making more money is evil, right? We tend to tie wealth and riches with morality. And so if you believe that the six-figure mark is the spot, right? As soon as you cross 100K, all of a sudden you're prideful, you're boastful, and all of these things, you might hit a ceiling or put a ceiling on yourself of saying, you know what? It's safer for me to make 75,000. It's safer for me to make 75,000 because then at least I'll still be a good person, right? Because all of the people that I know or all of the people that I see on IG, Instagram, in books, in movies, when they're making a lot of money, nobody likes them, right? So that's a belief that you hold to yourself, right? A lot of people believe that all wealthy people are evil, right? That they are the reasons why all of the bad things are happening in the world. And so you say to yourself, if I join the elite, if I join the wealthy, then I will be perceived as one of the evil people, and I'm not evil. So therefore, I don't need to make that much money. Another thing is, if we want to get biblical, a lot of people say making more money or money is the root of all evil. But when you actually read scripture, is for the love of money is the root of all evil. So that goes back to your belief about money. Money at the end of the day is just a tool, right? It just helps you to exchange goods and services. If I need to go get my nails done, I exchange the money so that the nail tech can do my nails. That's it. That's all money is. If I want to buy a house, I exchange the money so that the developer can give me the house. But if I believe that just because me paying for my nails makes me better than the nail tech, and I'm giving the money to her in a snooty type of way, then I'm letting the money define me. And I'm loving the money because I feel like it elevates me to a certain position. It's not the money's fault, it's my fault. And so we need to examine our constant beliefs, not only on six-figure earnings, but really about money. The second thing when it comes to is money bad is will I be perceived as greedy? And this happens a lot when we're talking about negotiating our salary. When I ask people, and this was me, why didn't you negotiate your salary? Well, the initial offer was good, and I felt like if I asked for more, I'd be perceived as greedy. Let me know if that's you. And the thing is, we thought, right? We took on the responsibility of projecting our insecurities and saying this is what that person is going to believe about us. What you should have done is the first offer might have been good, but that doesn't mean that it was the best offer. Nor does it mean that the offer that they presented to you was even within market range. So if you're making 60,000 and someone offers you 75,000, that's a good offer. But ask me, is that still a good offer when the actual range was between 85 and 100? But you decided to stick at 75 because you didn't want to be greedy. Is that still a good offer? It's not. And so being greedy is once again something that we need to work on internally. The third thing is I won't be personable anymore if I make more money. So we believe that if we make more money, that people are going to look at us strange, right? People are going to look at us different. People are going to treat us different, right? And for some of us, especially if you do have the financial responsibility of your parents, of your kids, of your siblings, and all of these things, when people find out you're going to make more money, all of a sudden they believe that you can help them out with anything. And so to deter that from happening, you just say, you know what, I'm not even going to make more money. Like what I make is good enough. I can support who I need to support. If I can't, it is what it is. But also the thing is, it's like when you find yourself elevating into new income brackets, into new social circles, then people start giving you, it's the quiet shame. And they're like, must be nice. And especially if you've seen them do it to other people, you've now internalized that they're going to do that to you. And the question I have for you is, so what? So what? Are you letting somebody else stop you from improving your financial situation? And I had to work through that. That we believe that everybody else's validation is so important to us. Mind you, it doesn't pay our bills. It doesn't help us with hospital expenses. It doesn't help us with retirement. But we believe it's so important that we allow it to limit our own possibilities of what could happen for us in the future. And then the last one, when it comes to thinking about is making money bad, is I don't deserve to make that much money. And I struggled through this for myself because when you start to look at your friend circle or even your family, or thinking about like how your parents may do with just a little bit, you start thinking like, oh, I'm just a single person. Like I don't need to make that much money. It's not like I have kids. It's not like I have a house. It's not like I have and insert whatever burden or responsibility everyone else has that you don't have, that you now justify and say, you know what, I don't deserve to make that much. Right. And the thing is that you making money allows you to be a blessing to other people if you choose to, because that's the other thing. It's a choice if you want to bless other people. So the fact is, yes, you don't have that responsibility, but that doesn't mean that you should stop. You shouldn't make shouldn't make that amount of money. And where I'm going with this point is that when you make that amount of money, or you make more money than you actually quote unquote need, now you're able to do charitable giving, or you're able to pay a bill for your mom and your dad, or you're able to donate anonymously, or you're able to support someone on their travels, or whatever it may be, to do something nice for someone. Like just because you don't have that responsibility doesn't mean you don't deserve to make that amount of money. Because the thing about, because at the end of the day, you get to choose what you spend your money on. So let me know in the chat if this is making sense. Oh wow, I have some international people. Someone's in from Jamaica, Virginia. And then also, if you decide that you want a consultation with me, or you want to talk more about your situation, definitely shoot me a message on LinkedIn, or you can book a call with me. Someone is in from South Africa. Wow. Glad you're all here. Okay. So now that we've talked about the belief systems of money, we talked about whether or not we're qualified when it comes to making more six figures. I also want to talk about, why do you even desire to make six figures? And this is a good one. Okay. Our beliefs are one thing, right? The beliefs of ourselves, the beliefs of our who's around us, and just our overall reality. But our desires are absolutely important in this conversation. Why do I say that? Because your desires help drive your decisions. So if you desire to make six figures, if I ask you why do you desire to make six figures, and if you're tuning in live, go ahead and just drop that in the chat. I have some written down here, so they might coincide, but I want to see what you all are saying in the chat. Let's see. Okay. So as you're dropping that in the chat, I'm going to go through some of the common desires that my clients have said they want to make six figures. The first one, pay off debt. That was a huge one for me. You want to be able to pay off debt. Most of us have been supporting ourselves and supporting our livelihood on salaries that are just enough, maybe even paycheck to paycheck. And so when you start thinking about a debt payoff plan, you need an excess of income in order to drive down the debt that you currently have. And so making six figures, or making that certain amount of money, will allow you to pay off debt faster. Another desire in making six figures is to support your family, and not only support your family with the bare minimum or the basics, but really give them the quality of life to the standard of which you desire. So that might mean you want to put your kids in summer camp or private school. Maybe you decide you want to take 2 family vacations a year, or you, and I'll go into this, so I'll hold on to that. Maybe you also realize, you know what? I don't need a 2-seater. I actually need a Jeep. I need an SUV. So whatever you need to support your family, eating better food, going to the doctors or holistic doctors, and just having choices. I'll talk about this in another live, but making more money gives you the opportunity to make more money. That gives you the opportunity to make more choices. Like, I don't want people living in a life settling for this is all that's been given to me and I'm going to make do. And that's not truly not contentment if we want to go there. But I want people to really excel to a place where they're no longer just accepting the bare minimum. Another desire in making six figures is that charitable giving or tithing. Like, that was something for me. Like, I always wanted to be a tither. And my belief system said to myself, I said was like, you know what, I don't make a lot of money and I'm not sure if I can do it and all of those things. And so maybe your goal is to be a tither and in addition to do charitable giving. And so if those things are important to you, you want to make sure that you're in a place that financially you can do that. You may want to start, a desire of yours is to start or fund your own business. And that's something that my salary has helped me do with the branded career. So we all know that businesses take some time in order to be profitable, to be up and running. And so having a job and having a well-paying job can be your number one investor in your own business. Or it can provide you with the opportunity to buy businesses and to buy assets that will able to help you live an easier life in retirement. And then lastly, maybe you might want to travel. I have clients that have said, you know what, I really want to travel more. I want to do live more and experience more. However, I don't have the excess funds in order to do that. And so when you understand your desire, right, and you understand your beliefs, if what you're, and my question I pose to you is, if what you desire is a negative or evil, then why allow your beliefs to talk you out of pursuing a six-figure career? And that's why it's important to make things black and white, because sometimes we feel that our feelings are facts and they're not. And so we sometimes need to really look at our desires because they'll help us make better decisions. And so to go back to the initial question, right? Let me know if this is making sense in the chat, if anything is resonating with you. But the initial question that was in my inbox is making six figures possible? And to answer that question, yes, it is possible. And it's actually very, very simple. First thing you need is high demand for the work that you provide, but not only high demand, but high value. So there's a lot of demand for a lot of, let's say, teachers, right? Teachers, maybe even police officers. And so there's a high demand for it. However, we don't value it as much. And if we did value it as much, their salaries will correlate to that value. So we know that maybe working in a nonprofit or maybe working in missions work, it might be in demand, but it's not necessarily valuable. So you want to be able to position yourself in a high demand, high value industry. The second thing is making sure that you have the education and experience background necessary to perform that function. And then the third thing is being able to articulate your value in a way that the cost of not having you is greater than the six-figure number you're asking for. So 3 things: high demand, high value, education and experience, articulating your value. That's what makes it possible. But your beliefs will always trump what's possible for you because your beliefs are reality. And so I want you to replay this. Go back, think about, okay, what do I actually believe about what's possible for me? What are my beliefs about money? And then also, what are my beliefs about making a six-figure salary? And then the other thing I want you to do is write down your desires. And if your desires outweigh your current short limited beliefs about money, then you need to start creating a plan that'll get you to the destinations of your desires. And so that is all I have for you all today. I am super excited about being on live on a weekly basis. I do have some announcements for you. And let me see if I can pull it up on the screen. There it goes. So I am hosting a free webinar called How to Land Your First Six-Figure Role. It's going to be August 30th. That's a Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Trust me, you want to be there, and the seats are limited. I currently have about 55 people that are registered for this. I'm going to cap it because my Zoom room will cap the amount of people in the room. So if you have not registered, register today. Also, if this live was helpful for you, send it to 3 people, like 3 people that you know that would benefit from this live. And also, if you have questions, if you would like to meet with me or book a call with me, shoot me a DM and then we can get that scheduled. So, with that, you all, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you tuning in. And I will see you all, Lord willing, next week. Bye.